Attention business owners, you've probably figured out that it's become a lot more difficult to hire employees in today's environment. You've got a lot of labor shortages going on, increase in minimum wage, additional regulatory requirements has made it much more difficult to hire your next best employee. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you 10 tips to hire that next best employee that you really need in your business. Number one is, what is the job that you're hiring for? You have to be very specific on what you want. Do you have a job description for this job that you're hiring for? Does it have duties and responsibilities? Does it have key performance indicators? Does it have necessary skills? So you need to be very specific to make sure you know what you're hiring for. Number two is, who are you wanting to hire? Who is that person? What kind of thought process do they have? What kind of skill sets do you want them to have? What sort of behaviors do you want them to exhibit? Do they have a job history that you want? Try to get as granular as possible and figure out what that ideal potential employee looks like. The more specific you can get, the more you're going to attract that right person. Number three, you need to use 10 different lead generation activities. It's no longer good enough just to throw up an ad onto LinkedIn or onto Indeed or any other website and magically get clients. It's not going to happen anymore. So you need to identify 10 different strategies in order to attract a large pool of potential candidates. That might be your own database, that might be bulletin boards, that might be any sort of other activity that's going to get you the number of candidates that you need, because you just don't want to go and take anybody. You want a large pool of candidates. So you find 10 different strategies. Number four is avoid the prisoner of war ad. You've probably seen them before. They are the bland and blasé ads that put the title up there. They have the duties, responsibilities, and basically send your resume to X. They are dull, they are boring, and they tell you nothing. People want to work for a company that's exciting, it's moving forward, has a great culture. You need to sell the sizzle. In the ad, tell everybody what that is going to look like in your business. What's the advantages of coming to work for you? What is the culture that's going to attract that right person? What's that potential and the growth of the company look like, and what does it mean to that person? The more sizzle that you advertise, the more people get excited and want to take action to apply for your job. Number five is filter candidates through a group interview process. One of the things is that it's a huge waste of time to try to interview 10, 12, 15 candidates on a one-to-one basis. So you need to have some form of group interview where they get to be into a group and you interview them as a group. This can be done both face-to-face and on Zoom, Microsoft Teams, Google Meet, whatever you want to do. So get that group interview going, and that way you can filter out the candidates in one big chunk rather than try to do individual interviews, because the greatest waste of a time is having a person in front of you that you know within 5 minutes is a waste of your time, but you've committed an hour to interview them. There's 60 minutes of time you can never get back. So use the group interview process. Number six is use behavioral-based job interview questions. You know, the traditional job interview questions that go through job history and what did you do and why did you leave doesn't tell the whole story. You need to ask questions about what the job is about, and then how has their experience directly related to the question. So for example, if it's an engineer position, you can say this job is all about doing this kind of blah, blah, blah in engineering. Give me evidence or experience from your past that shows that you've done this kind of engineering. What did you do? How did you do it? What were the results? So you want to get them to be as specific as possible about their experience that directly relates to the job requirements that you have for this job. Number 7 is use skill tests to determine competence. People can tell you that they can do Excel or they can do different skill sets or they have different engineering or technical skills, but until you develop a testing process, how can you prove it? I had a client one time who was a carpenter, and to avoid wasted time, he would take candidates and put them through about an hour-long carpentry test that he set up in one of his warehouses, and he could tell very quickly who had the skills and who didn't have the skills. So find a way to do some sort of skill testing to determine competence of your candidates. Number 8, use psychometric profiling to identify the best job fit. Now, too many times we do the gut feel hire. We interview the person, we like them, we go, that one feels right, and we hire them. And they may not be a fit for the job. So one of the things is you need to use some form of psychometric profiling. What are the behaviors, what are the motivations, and what's the fit for the job? There's a bunch of different tests out there that you can use. Ask me, I can tell you what I use and what others have used, but you need to do some form of psychometric profiling. Don't be cheap. Some of these are going to cost you money, but it's the best money you'll ever spend. Number 9 is make a job offer that is competitive, not low ball. This is not the time at the job offer to see if you can get them for the cheapest amount possible, because number 1, they may feel insulted and just walk away. Or number 2, even if they take the job, guess what? They may go, you know what, I know what my real worth is, and they're out of there in a few weeks. People are not dumb. They're going to do their homework and determine what their value is in the marketplace, and you need to do your homework to determine what is the pay range for this typical job so that you hire somebody that's actually going to stay around. And finally, number 10, have a defined onboarding process, not just an on-the-job training orientation. I've seen this too many times. You hire the right person, you throw them in there, you partner them up with somebody, and you're supposed to learn on the job, and it's a disaster. They become disillusioned, and in 90 days, they're out of there. You want to have a very defined onboarding process that's written down, documented, using manuals, using systems, using tests, using something, orienting them on culture, getting them to know people, introduce themselves in a way that they get the experience of the job in that first 90 days, and they're continually excited about working with you. So, again, let's review the 10 tips. 1, what is the job you're hiring for? 2, who exactly are you wanting to hire? Number 3, use 10 different lead generation strategies. 4, avoid the prisoner of war ad. 5, filter candidates through a group interview process. 6, use behavioral-based job interview sessions. 7, use skills tests to determine competence. 8, use psychometric profiling for job fit. 9, make a job offer that's competent and not lowball. And 10, have a defined onboarding process, not just on-the-job training. If you want to talk with me about hiring your next best employee, go ahead and book a 15-minute call into me. Would love to talk with you, throw some ideas around out there, or even a 30-minute online basically strategy session where you can see me on Zoom and we can do some brainstorming. I'm not going to sell you anything. I want to help you. So let's talk. Good luck with hiring that next best employee.